The first thing a Tibetan family does in the morning is to serve at least 7 bowls of fresh water, a butter lamp, and 1 stick of incense to their gods and spirits. They believe burning incense provides food for the gods. That's why incense is a daily necessity in Tibetan life. In the early morning, Turjing Dorje has begun his prayer to his house gods. What most people do not know is that despite its extreme climate, the Tibetan Plateau is a veritable plant kingdom. It boasts over 1,000 kinds of medicinal plants, providing ideal ingredients for incense. Tibetan incense may look rough at first sight, but compared with other aromatics, its health benefits are incredible. The best Tibetan incense contains more than 100 kinds of ingredients. It can soothe the restless mind and also acts as a disinfectant. When SARS struck China in 2003, Tibetan incense was instantly out of stock. A set of authentic Tibetan incense could cost hundreds of US. Wherever you go in Tibet, be it monastery or ordinary household, you'll be immersed in a mixed scent of incense, milk tea, Tibetan butter, and plateau grass, the magic aroma of which will take you to a world of mysteries.
Everyone begins his day with incense. After getting up, first we start water offering in front of the shrine. After the offering, we burn the incense. We do it before we sleep too. Sometimes, when you feel unwell, be it a cold or your eyes are aching, we burn incense. Burning the incense can help expel evil spirits. It purifies the environment. That's why incense is essential for Tibetans' lives.
Tunda village lies 140 kilometers southwest of Lhasa, on the north shore of Yarlong Zangbo River. Located 3,730 meters above sea level, this beautiful and secluded land is one of Tibet's most famous incense-making villages. It is also the birthplace of Thonmi Sambota, inventor of Tibetan incense and Tibetan script. Tsering Dorje begins to prepare the materials he needs to make incense. This is the 7th procedure of incense production. As the successor of the incense craftsmanship, Tsering Dorje, now aged 36, has been making incense for over 20 years.
I learned how to make incense from my father. In this village, there are over 200 households making incense. Most of them are producing them at home.
On the other side of the village, Sonam Norbu is carrying back a log from the stream with his grandson Dawa. It's the most basic material for Tibetan incense, cedar wood trunk. They're going to cut the wood into 50-centimeter long pieces. The first procedure of incense production is to shave off the bark. Sonam Norbu is 66 years old. Just like his predecessors, he's been working with the wood his whole life. Norbu's grandson Dawa, aged 25, has been studying incense making from his father and grandfather since he was 13. Now he's at the second step of the production, which is to make a square hole in the middle of the log and put in a thick pole. In Chinese culture, cedar wood is the tree of all trees, and it is the symbol of dignity, decency, longevity, and immortality. For Tibetan people, only such sacred trees deserve to be offered to the gods and spirits. Tunda lies too high above sea level to grow cedar wood, so the logs have to be carried from a county 400 kilometers away. The logs are usually stored in the water to prevent them drying out and cracking. The ingredients for the incense are ready. Each family has a different recipe. The craftsmen know the recipe by heart. The incense Tsering is making here includes over 19 ingredients, including amomum, tauco, Chinese usnea, costus root, sandalwood, benzoin, orchilandia root, cloves, Chinese mugwort, nutmeg, agarwood, and white sandalwood. Of all the materials, cedarwood incense brick is the most
involves the practice of burning incense. That's why it's a big part of Tibetan people's life.
Minjulin Temple is situated about 100 kilometers southeast of Lhasa. Its name means the land of maturity and freedom. Historically, it was a center for studies into Tibetan culture, and many people studied Tibetan language and medicine here. The monks here were renowned for their calligraphy as well as their secret recipe for Tibetan incense. With a history of over 300 years, this is the oldest Tibetan incense recipe on record. In 1670, Tradak Lingpa, the reincarnation of Vairocana, founder of Minjulin Temple, added more than 30 kinds of precious ingredients, including white sandalwood, red sandalwood, cloves, and musk, to the original recipe. This special recipe is considered one of the treasures of Tibetan incense.
There are different types of incense for households and temples. Even within a temple, each Buddha should be offered with different incense respectively. We usually offer high-class incense for them. There's something we call Rinchen Naga in the ingredient, which means very precious material. For example, gold, silver, bronze, and turquoise, coral, and one kind of medicine called Sangbo bead. It means very expensive and good medicine, in which there are 6 kinds of ingredients. It is often used for making good incense for the gods.
In the past, Minjulin Temple incense was specially served to the Patola Palace and the Kashag government. It was exclusive to the Tibetan nobles.
No matter it is the king in the past, heroes, eminent monks, or incarnated lamas, incense is always used in the welcome and send-off ceremony.
To this day, the monks still practice the quintessential ritual of blessing the ingredients before making the incense. In fact, the ritual is from a 1,000-year-old tradition in Tibetan history. Every year on the 7th day of the 6th month in the Tibetan calendar, all Tibetan pharmacists will place medicines in the mandala of the Buddha of medicine. Then, they will chant sutras and practice Homa for 7 days and nights. In Tibetan culture, blessing means bringing the power of the gods to men and thus enlightening the blessed. In accordance with tradition, all ingredients must be blessed before the manufacturing begins. It is the most unique part of Tibetan incense crafting. A Tibetan will always prefer medicine that has been blessed by a monastery because they believe the blessing gives the medicine holy power. At the blessing ceremony, a colorful cotton rope named Songta runs through the site, connecting the medicine and the pharmacists. The believers think that Songta will deliver their prayers to the medicines, thus strengthening their effects.
Only after the consecration would the medicine be bestowed with spirit. It's the same as in the case of Buddha statue and Thanka. Only with blessings would they be given spirit, otherwise they are just lifeless objects. It's the same with incense.
Through the sacred and mysterious blessing ceremony, the Tibetans have found a way to communicate with the earth, the heaven, and the gods. On the other side of the temple, a group of young lamas are grinding the incense ingredients according to the most traditional methods. They have pounded a mixture of saffron, licorice, usnea, and benzoin into pieces. After grinding the pieces into powder, they will start preparing for the next step. Usually the grinding takes several days. In the old times, the lamas completed the entire incense manufacturing process. But today, most of the packaging work is done by volunteers from the nearby villages. The temple pays the villagers who volunteer to help. Although the pay is modest, they consider it an honor to work for the temple. What they earn in the process is something money cannot buy. During springtime, Midtjylland Temple is always immersed in the peculiar smoke of incense. It's been part of the plateau's air for hundreds of years. The market demand has grown much faster than the production capacity of home manufacturers. Many incense craftsmen are now trying an integrated way of manufacturing that includes both machines and hands. This is an incense factory in Dagzer Lhasa. The workers are at the final step of the process. The founder of the factory, named Lungri Gyamtso, is the descendant of the renowned Yogetsang family and a 9th-generation practitioner of the family's incense craft. The family's craft has a history of over 300 years already.
My Yogetsang family has been true believers of Tibetan Buddhism for generations. There were lamas and reincarnated Buddhas in my family too. I wanted to become a monk, but I wasn't able to. Though I'm still a layman, I still want to do something meaningful for myself and the society.
Lungri Gyamtso's grandfather was a respected pharmacist in the region as well as a faithful Buddhist. Besides seeing patients from the village, making incense was a significant part of his life. When Gyamtso was young, his grandfather told him that Tibetan incense serves not only a religious purpose, but a medicinal purpose as well. There are innumerable benefits to be had in making incense for the gods and the people. Lungri Gyamtso grew up with his grandfather. He always watched his grandfather make incense whilst his grandfather explained to him the effects of each ingredient. The details and fragrance of the incense were embedded in his memory from an early age. The memories of his childhood are now being brought back to life with the Yogetsang incense. The fragrance always reminds him of his grandfather. For Lungri, making incense is not only his career, but a way to remember his family. Today, building on traditional craftsmanship, Lungri Gyamtso has developed 80 more kinds of incense matching the needs of modern life. He's opened retail shops in many cities in China and is even selling incense abroad. Although the package has been redesigned, the soul of incense remains the same. Just like the life of the Tibetan people, forever ongoing and always moving forward. Incense has been part of Tibetan history for over 1,300 years. New brands of Tibetan incense have sprung up in the streets of Lhasa. From the temple to the village to the bustling street, the aroma of incense is always heavy in the air. Tibetans believe incense connects the earth with the heaven. As long as this belief continues, Tibetan incense will be passed on in this mysterious land. Along with the rising smoke, incense brings the wishes and hopes of the people toward the sky, securing the gods' protection for the purity of this land.